Let's begin by offering our respects to ISKCON founder Acharya and our preeminent Shiksha Guru, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Second.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare.
Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
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 Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatare. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Taruvyascha Kripa Sindhu Vya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 We welcome all of you to our weekly classes. Today we will be discussing all about Ekadasi from the Sastric as well as from the scientific angle. But before that, we would like to welcome here, we have with us Karuna, Khushbu, Tejal Shah, Durga Prasad, Ritu Lalwani, Dipti Adnani, then we have Saket, Swapna and Manju. Okay, let me share my screen. Can you all see?
Mhm.
Okay. So Ekadasi, first of all, what does this word mean? No, Ekadasi is the Sanskrit word for number 11 because das means 10 and Eka means 1. So 10 plus 1 is 11. So Ekadasi actually is the Sanskrit word for the number 11. This Ekadasi day is also called as Hari Vasara. Hari Vasara. Hari, who is Hari?
Krishna.
Krishna. One of Krishna's names is Hari. What does that name mean? What does that name Hari mean?
To take away all that is sin, inauspicious.
Inauspicious, yes. Krishna is that personality who takes away from us, his devotees, anything that is inauspicious for our spiritual well-being. So Hari means that. And Vasara means what? Vas Karna. What does that mean?
To live in.
Yes. So Hari Vasara is the day where Lord Hari actually resides. So it's the day of Sri Hari, is the day that is very, very dear to Lord Sri Krishna. It is also called as Madhava Tithi. Who is Madhava?
Krishna.
Krishna. What
Krishna.
does the name Madhava mean?
The husband of the goddess of fortune.
Yes, exactly. The husband of the goddess of fortune. So Krishna is also called as Madhava or Lakshmi Pati. No, Lakshmi Pati. He is the husband of the goddess of fortune. Here in the material world, there are Lakpatis, there are Crorpatis, but only there can be one Lakshmi Pati, and that is Krishna. So, and Tithi means what?
Date.
Date, no? So it is the day of Lord Madhava. This particular date, the 11th day of the calendar, lunar calendar, is the day dedicated to Lord Madhava. This Ekadasi day is also called as the day of Ekadasi Upavas, because we fast on Ekadasi, right? So fasting is Upavas. But if you have to split the word Upavas, Upa and Vas, what does Upa mean and what does Vas mean? Vas means,
To live in.
yes, to reside, no, to live. And Upa means to live in close proximity, to live in close proximity. So Ekadasi is the day which if we follow, it means that we can reside or we can get closer to God, closer to God. So Upavas, that's why in our Shastras there are so many fasting dates that are available. And all these fasting, when one fasts according to Shastra, then it helps one to reside or helps one to be closer to God. Now, some people do not follow Shastra and they anyway fast, but it is not for to please the Lord. No, the fasting may be for political reasons. Sometimes one goes on a dharna, one goes on a fast for some political reasons, or one may go on a diet because one wants to lose weight. But fasting, if one follows according to Shastra, then one will remain healthy and one will also reside close to the Lord. So, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur?
He is the guru of Prabhu Srila Prabhupada.
No. Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master's name is Srila
Saraswati Thakur.
Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. His father is Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So he is also an acharya in our disciplic succession. So he has composed a lot of literature and he was an advocate by profession, but he was fully Krishna conscious. So and he was a grihastha. So he's a very good example for somebody who can balance grihastha life, your material duties, as an advocate and also he took care of his spiritual life to perfection. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has sung Madhava Tithi Bhakti Janani. Bhakti Janani. So Madhava Tithi, this Madhava Tithi is the mother of devotion. Bhakti Janani, mother of devotion. So you can see how much more important it is for one to follow Ekadasi. So when does Ekadasi fall? It is the 11th day we discussed. See, the lunar cycle in 1 month goes through the phase of the dark fortnight and the phase of the light fortnight. So what is dark fortnight? It's called Krishna Paksh. Krishna Paksh, or the stage of the waning moon. So on the first day of the waning moon cycle, the first day of the dark fortnight, you will see how the moon starts to reduce from the full size to new moon, no? So completely dark night. So the first day of the Krishna Paksha, or the dark fortnight of the waning moon, is like this. No, you can see the moon almost full size, but it starts to reduce. And as it reduces, see, you can see the 4th day, 8th day, 12th day, and as it reduces and comes to the 15th day of its cycle, then we have what is called as a new moon, or what we know as Amavasya. Amavasya. You cannot see the moon at all in the sky. So this is Amavasya. So this is the phase of the dark fortnight. Then in the next phase, after the new moon, what happens? Now the moon begins to grow. Moon begins to grow. And as it reaches again in the second cycle now of that month, in the first day, you can see that how the moon begins to appear. And then 15 days of that cycle, then at the end of it, you have the full moon, or what we call as Purnima. Purnima. So in every month, we have one dark fortnight and one light fortnight. So that's why we have Amavasya and we have Purnima. So the 11th day, no, the 11th day of the dark fortnight and the 11th day of the light fortnight is called as Ekadasi. It's the 11th day of the waxing moon and the 11th day of the waning moon. That is called as Ekadasi. Now you will see our festivals are named after the day in which they fall. Let's see some examples. Can you think of any example that falls on the first day of the lunar cycle? Waxing or waning moon, doesn't matter. Can you think of any festival that falls on the Prathama Tithi, or the first day of the cycle, waxing or waning cycle? Anybody?
I think it's Padwa, Gudi Padwa, or
Okay. I'm not sure about Gudi Padwa, but
Cheti
here I
Chand is
have
there.
Govardhan Leela.
Cheti Chand is there.
Cheti Chand would be on Purnima, is it not? On Chand.
No, it is not on the Purnima. It is on the first day.
It's on the first day. Okay, okay,
Chand, we call it.
okay. All right. So here I have Govardhan Puja. Govardhan's Puja is celebrated the day after which big festival? Does anybody remember? After the
Diwali.
yes,
Diwali.
after Diwali, isn't it? So after Diwali, the first day of the cycle is Govardhan Puja. Then any festival that you can think that is celebrated on Dvitiya?
Bhai Dooj.
Bhai Dooj. Yes, or it is also called as Yama Dvitiya. Very nice. Then Tritiya. What falls on a Tritiya?
Akhand Tej, Akshay Tritiya.
Yes, Akshay Tritiya. No, so that name itself, the name of the festival, it says Akshay Tritiya because it falls on the third day of the cycle. This is the point that we are trying to make. Then Chaturthi, what comes on Chaturthi?
Ganesh Chaturthi.
Ganesh Chaturthi. Very nice. Panchami,
Nag Panchami.
Nag Panchami, or Vasant Panchami, and also Vivaha Panchami, the day of the marriage of Lord Ramachandra and Sita. Then Shasti or
Chhat
Shasti.
Puja.
Okay. Here I have Odana Shashti and Sheetal Shashti. So there are many festivals. I have just put a few here on the screen just to understand the concept. So there will be others as well. Saptami, okay, here I have Advaita Saptami. It's the appearance day of Advaita Acharya, one of our Panchatattvas. No, when we chant the Hare Krishna, before we chant the Hare Krishna mantra, we chant the Panchatattva mantra. So Advaita Acharya is one of the Panchatattvas. And also we have Ratha Saptami, the day Lord, the sun god, Surya Dev is worshipped. Ratha Saptami it is called. Then Ashtami, what falls on Ashtami?
Janamashtami,
Janmashtami and also
Gokulashtami,
Gokulashtami and also
Durga Ashtami
Ra-
during Navratri.
Durga Ashtami, yes,
Radha Ashtami,
and
Ah,
Radha
Radha
Ashtami.
Ashtami also.
Yes, Radha Ashtami also, yes, very nice. Then Navami,
Ram Navami,
Ram Navami, very nice. Dashami,
Dashera.
Dashera,
Dashera or Vijay Dashami. Then we have Ekadasi. Can you think of any
Ekadasi,
festival that falls on Ekadasi?
Ekadasi.
So
Is it
Ekadasi is
Tulsi
a
on
fasting day.
Ekadashi?
Ekadasi is a
Fasting.
fasting day. No, Ekadasi is a fasting day. It's not a feasting day. Ekadasi is for fasting. Then Dwadasi,
So during Diwali, there is this Vasu Baras on Dwadashi. I don't know the actual name, but they call it Vasu Baras, where they worship the calf.
okay, okay. Maybe I'm not aware of that. But what do we have here? I have here Rukmini Dwadasi, the appearance day of Rukmini Devi, who is the wife of Sri Krishna. So Rukmini Dwadasi. Then Trayodashi,
Dhanteras.
Dhanteras. Here I have Nityananda Trayodashi, the appearance day of Lord Nityananda. Who is Lord Nityananda?
Chaitanya Prabhu's what do you call it? He was there with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, no?
Uh-huh. So he is who actually? See, Krishna comes
Balram.
as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Who comes
Balaram,
Balram.
as Lord
Balram,
Nityananda?
Balram.
Balaram. Yes, Balaram. Very nice. So Tejal mentioned Dhanteras. That comes 2 days before Diwali. So yes, it should fall on a Trayodashi. Then Chaturdashi, 14th day, Chaturdashi.
Naraka Chaturdashi is also there, and
Yes, Naraka
Narsimha
Chaturdashi.
Chaturdashi.
Yes, and also we have Nrsimha Chaturdashi, the appearance day of Lord Nrsimha. Then what falls on a Purnima or on an Amavasya?
Amavasya is Diwali.
Diwali, yes, Diwali always falls on an Amavasya. And can you think of any festival on Purnima?
Sharad Purnima.
Sharad
Sharad
Purnima. What happened on Sharad Purnima?
They they put coconuts in the water for I don't remember exactly actually what it is called.
Okay.
Gaur Purnima.
And we
Gaur
have Gaura
Purnima,
Purnima and we also have Guru Purnima.
Guru
These two
Purnima.
fall on a Purnima. Okay, so first what we will do is we will read from the Shastra the story or the history behind Ekadasi. So this article, it appears in the Padma Purana and it was stated to us by Sri Navina Chandra Chakravarti, a disciple of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So he writes, many devotees are very inquisitive about the appearance of Sri Ekadasi and about her special characteristics. Therefore, I am presenting this description from the 14th chapter of the Padma Purana from the section entitled Kriya Sagara Sar. So he is saying that this is from the 14th chapter of the Padma Purana. So we have Sastric reference. So what is the story? Once the great sage Jaimini Rishi said to his spiritual master, O Gurudev, previously by your mercy, you described to me the history of the Ganga river, the benefits of worshipping Vishnu, the giving of grains in charity, the giving of water in charity, the magnanimity of drinking water that has been used to wash the feet of the Brahmanas. O best of sages, O Gurudev, now, with great enthusiasm, I desire to hear of the benefits of fasting on Ekadasi and of the appearance of Ekadasi. So, this story was narrated thanks to the enquiry by a disciple to his spiritual master. So what is the name of the disciple? Who is making this enquiry from whom?
Navina Chandra.
No. Navina Chandra Chakravarti, a disciple of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, has narrated the story. But
Okay.
the real story was actually narrated by, he is restating it, no? He is repeating what was spoken before. But who has said the story here in the Padma Purana?
Jaimini Rishi?
Yes, Jaimini Rishi is inquiring from his spiritual master, and his spiritual master is?
Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur.
No. Does it say here or no? It doesn't say here. Okay. So anyway, Jaimini Rishi is inquiring from his spiritual master. His spiritual master's name is Srila Vyasadev. Vyasadev is the guru of Jaimini Rishi. Okay, so he's inquiring from Srila Vyasadev. So Srila Vyasadev is the one who describes this story. O Gurudev, when did Ekadasi take place and from whom did she appear? What are the rules of fasting on the day of Ekadasi? Please describe the benefits of following this vow and when it should be followed. Who is the utmost worshipable presiding deity of Sri Ekadasi? What are the faults in not observing Ekadasi properly? Please bestow your mercy upon me and tell about these subjects, as you are the only personality able to do so. So you can see how Jaimini Rishi is inquiring with a humble state of mind, and he's glorifying his spiritual master, and he's making valid inquiries. No, so this is how a disciple can inquire from his spiritual master. So Srila Vyasadev, so here we have the Guru's name. Now Srila Vyasadev, upon hearing this enquiry from Jaimini Rishi, became situated in transcendental bliss. O Brahmana sage Jaimini, the results of following Ekadasi can be perfectly described by the Supreme Lord Narayana, because Sri Narayana is the only personality capable of describing them in full. But I will give a very brief description in answer to your question. So, see, here the disciple is telling his guru, you are the only personality able to do so. So, the disciple must glorify his spiritual master. And what does the spiritual master do? What is Srila Vyasadeva doing? He is redirecting that glorification to the Lord. See, what does he say? The results of following Ekadasi can be perfectly described by the Supreme Lord Narayan, because Sri Narayan is the only person capable of describing them in full. So this is what a bona fide spiritual master or any devotee or Vaishnava does. When the Vaishnava receives praise, the Vaishnava redirects it to his spiritual master and to the Guru Parampara, going back to Krishna. So this is exactly what is happening here. So this is the etiquette that should be followed between the Guru and the disciple. Okay, this word Narayan. What does that name Narayana mean? What does that name Narayan mean? Narayan is a combination of two words, Nar and Ayana. Nar means what?
Man.
Man or living entity. And Ayana means?
Preside.
Ayana means resting place, right? So the word Narayana means the ultimate resting place or the ultimate place of residence of all the living entities. So this is what this name Narayan means. He is the ultimate resting place of all the living entities. Okay, at the beginning of material creation. So who is describing this now? Who is the speaker of this paragraph? Who is the speaker here?
Vyasadev.
Srila Vyasadev. Yes, very good, Saket. So what does Srila Vyasadev say? At the beginning of material creation, the Supreme Lord created the moving and non-moving living entities within this world made of 5 gross material elements. Simultaneously, for the purpose of punishing the evil human beings, he created a personality whose form was the embodiment of the worst kinds of sin, Papa Purusha. The different limbs of this personality were constructed of various sinful activities. His head was made of the sin of murdering a Brahmana. His two eyes were the form of drinking intoxicants. His mouth was made from the sin of stealing gold. His ears were the form of the sin of having illicit connection with the spiritual master's wife. His nose was of the sin of killing one's wife. His arms, the form of the sin of killing a cow. His neck was made of the sin of stealing accumulated wealth. His chest of the sin of abortion. His lower chest of the sin of having sex with another's wife. His stomach of the sin of killing one's relatives. His navel of the sin of killing those who are dependent on him. His waist of the sin of egotistical self appraisal. His thighs of the sin of offending the Guru, his genitals of the sin of selling one's daughter, his buttocks of the sin of telling confidential matters, his feet of the sin of killing one's father, and his hair was the form of all sorts of less severe sinful activities. In this way, a horrible personality embodying all sinful activities and vices was created. His bodily color is black and his eyes are yellow. He inflicts extreme misery upon sinful persons. So Srila Vyasadeva is saying how at the beginning of creation, the Supreme Lord created moving and non-moving living entities. So who are the moving and the non-moving living entities? The moving entities are
We, the
Human
human
being,
being.
human being and animals and all the creatures.
yes, all the living entities who can move, no? Human beings, animals, insects, birds, aquatics, all these living entities who can move, they are the moving living entities. And who are the non-moving living entities?
Plants, trees.
Yes, the plants, trees, etc. So they are living entities, but they cannot move. So the Supreme Lord has created both moving and non-moving living entities within this world made of five gross material elements. So what are the five gross material elements of this material world? Who remembers from Bhagavad Gita?
Air, fire, earth, ether, and
Water.
water.
Yes. So these are the five gross material elements. Actually, the material world is made up of how many elements? Is it only made of five gross? It is made up of a
24.
total
No,
of
24.
24.
24.
Yes, very nice. We learned in
24.
our Bhagavad Gita, no? 24. Yes. Okay. So coming back to our text here. So Vyasdeva is describing how the Supreme Lord, he created this material world, he created the living entities, and simultaneously he has created a very horrible looking personality called Papa Purusha. So this Papa Purusha is the embodiment of all kinds of sin, embodiment of all kinds of sin. As you can see this detailed description of how from different kinds of sin his body was made up of. So I just googled Papa Purusha and I got this. So something like this, but it's not, I mean, we cannot even imagine, but something for our less intelligent minds to try to understand and fathomize. No? So here, see, coming to living entities, the Padma Purana states how there are a total of 8,400,000 living entities. There are 900,000 species living in the water, 2 million non-moving living entities are there. So it means these are the varieties. So there are 2 million different kinds of trees and plants. Then there are 1.1 million species of insects and reptiles, 1 million species of birds. Then there are 3 million varieties of quadrupeds, which means the four-legged animals, and there are 400,000 human species. So this is all across the material world, not only on planet Earth, all across the material world. Okay, so let's come back to our story here. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, upon seeing this personality of sin, began to think to himself as follows: I am the creator of the miseries and happiness for the living entities. I am their master because I have created this personality of sin, who gives distress to all dishonest, deceit, and sinful persons. Now I must create someone who will control this personality. At this time, Sri Bhagavan created the personality of Yamaraj and the different hellish planetary systems. Those living entities who are very sinful will be sent after death to Yamaraj, who will in turn, according to their sins, send them to an appropriate hellish region to suffer. So now Lord Vishnu, what has he done? He has also created someone who can control this Papa Purusha. Someone who can control this embodiment of all kinds of sin. And that personality that he created was who?
Yama.
Yamaraj. Yes, Yamaraj. And what is Yamaraj duty? What is his service? What he has to do?
Yes, to send them to the appropriate places where they belong, no, where they have to pay their karma activities.
Yes, exactly. So what kind of living entities will see the face of Yamaraj? Everyone? Everyone?
No.
Only who will
Oh,
in turn according to their sins.
Only those who are committing sinful activities. See, those living entities who are very sinful will be sent after death to Yamaraj. So if one is a devotee, one is leading a Krishna conscious life, if one is under the shelter of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, then one will not have to see the face of Yamaraj. In ISKCON, we use a manual for deity worship. Mm. It's called as Pancharita Pradipa. It's originally coming from the teachings of Srila Narada Muni. And there it is described how anyone who wears Tulsi neck beads will not see the face of Yamaraj. No, Yamaraj, the Yamadutas, they run far away from any person who is wearing this Kantimala. This is why Vaishnavas, we use this 24/7. We never take it off, whether one is having a bath or one is in the bathroom or whatever activity one may be engaged in, which may seem unclean, still the Vaishnavas never take it out 24/7. Okay, coming back to our story or history. After these adjustments had been made, the Supreme Lord, who is the giver of distress and happiness to the living entities, went to the house of Yamaraj with the help of Garuda, the king of birds. When Yamaraj saw that Lord Vishnu had arrived, he immediately washed his feet and made an offering unto him. He then had him sit upon a golden throne. The Supreme Lord Vishnu became seated upon the throne, whereupon he heard very loud crying sounds from the southern direction. He became surprised by this and inquired of Yamaraj, from where is this loud crying coming? Hmm. So you see how here Yamaraj, he has received the Lord. Has he received the Lord in an appropriate way?
Yes, Mother.
Yes, isn't it? Because he has received him very, very respectfully. He has offered him a throne to sit. He has also washed his feet and he has made an offering to him. So this is how um, we must respectfully receive guests in a house. The Lord or a representative of the Lord, the Guru, also should be treated as good as God. The spiritual master, a bona fide spiritual master, will never say that he is God, but we should receive the Guru as good as God. So you can see how Yamaraj, how come? Because see, normally Yamaraj is depicted as someone who's very fearful personality, somebody who's very ugly looking. He has this very fierce personality. But actually, Yamaraj, Srila Prabhupada explains, is a demigod. He is also a devata. And he executes his service because it is Yamaraj's service to punish the sinful souls. And therefore, he is depicted like this in a very fearful manner. But actually, he is very, very beautiful. He is very beautiful and good looking because he is also a servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is also rendering service to the Lord. In fact, Yamaraj is one of the 12 Mahajans. He is one of the 12 greatest authorities on the science of God. Nobody can understand the science of God better than these 12. No, they are the 12 greatest authorities on the science of God. And of course, because Yamaraj, if you can imagine uh, a court of law, no, the judge should very well know the rules and regulations of the law of the land, because he has to pass the judgment according to the rules and regulations of the law of the land. So he should be an authority on the laws of the country. Like that, Yamaraj, he should know the rules and regulations properly, because only then he can punish the sinful souls according to their sinful activity. So he's a authority on the science of God. Does anybody remember the names of the 12 Mahajans? Okay, let's see. So here you have the names of the 12 Mahajans: Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Sukadeva Goswami, Prahlad Maharaj, Narada Muni, Janak Maharaj, the four Kumaras, Kapila Muni, Swayambhuva Manu, Bhishma Dev, Bali Maharaj, and Yamaraj. These are the 12 authorities on the science of God. Now let's come back to what we were reading. Yamaraj in reply said, O Deva, the different living entities of the earthly planetary systems have fallen to the hellish regions. They are suffering extremely for their misdeeds. The horrible crime is because of the suffering from the inflictions of their past bad actions. After hearing this, the Supreme Lord Vishnu went to the hellish region to the south. When the inhabitants saw who had come, they began to cry even louder. The heart of the Supreme Lord Vishnu became filled with compassion. Lord Vishnu thought to himself, I have created all this progeny, and it is because of me that they are suffering. So you see, the Lord, he is feeling compassion in his heart, and he wants to resolve this thing for these living entities who have committed sinful activities, and they are suffering in this hellish planets. So how many planetary systems do we have in our universe?
14.
14 planetary systems. And where are these hellish planets located?
Below Earth.
Below Earth. Yes, below Earth. See here. So within the
Patala.
universe, let me see if I have that. See here. One second. See here we have our universe. Within our universe, there are 14 planetary systems. Now we are located here, no, earthly planet. The higher planetary systems are called as the heavenly planets, and the lower planetary systems are called as the subterranean heavenly planets. Subterranean heavenly planets. There is more opulence in the subterranean heavenly planets than there is even in the upper planetary systems. Now, the lower planetary systems are Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, and Patala. Now, below Patala, these are the lower planetary systems. Now, below Patala, there is this region where you have these hellish planetary systems and Pitraloka. So, our ancestors, they reside in Pitraloka for a certain period of time if still the judgment has not been passed. No, if it's not that all our ancestors are in Pitraloka, it's not like that. But some ancestors may be residing or may be made to reside in Pitraloka until the judgment is passed. So see here from the fifth canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 26, verse 5. The great sage Sukadeva Goswami answered, all the hellish planets are situated in the intermediate space between the three worlds and the Garbhodaka ocean. So you have the Garbhodaka ocean. Where is this Garbhodaka ocean? Here, see. Inside the universe, we have here Mahavishnu, Garbhodakashai Vishnu. Garbhodakashai Vishnu. Garbhodakashai Vishnu is lying at the bottom of this universe, and he's lying in this Garbhodaka ocean. So in this intermediate space between the ocean and the three planetary systems. So what are the three planetary systems? The higher planetary system, the middle planetary system where we are situated and the lower planetary system which we have discussed. So this verse says that in the intermediate space between the three worlds and the Garbhodaka ocean, there these hellish planets are situated. So it is somewhere here. They lie on the southern side of the universe beneath Bhumandala and slightly above the water of the Garbhodaka ocean. So this is where it is located. See, if you go to Srimad Bhagavatam, actually let's go there. So if you go to your Veda Vase, Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, and the last chapter of the 5th canto, chapter 26, a description of the hellish planets. You can read here the different kind of hellish planets that are existing and what kind of punishment is, I mean, when a living entity commits what kind of punishment, then what kind of hellish planet he is sent to. It's a very, very graphic description. So you can read it at your own risk if you like to. We are not going to read it now. But here in this place is where he is describing where we can see this description. No, so this is from that very same chapter. Okay, Vyasadeva continued. O Jaimini, just listen to what the Supreme Lord did next. After the merciful Supreme Lord thought over what he had previously considered, he suddenly manifested from his own form the deity of the lunar day Ekadasi. So he has manifested Ekadasi personified from his own form. Afterward, the different living sinful entities began to follow the vow of Ekadasi and were then elevated quickly to the abode of Vaikuntha. So see these, it's see the Lord, no, Krishna, he is very, very merciful. It's not that he sends someone eternally to suffer in hell. No, it's not that eternally one suffers in hell with no chance um, of making corrections to the past sinful activities that one has done. So now here in this case, you can see how he has manifested Ekadasi and how all the different sinful living entities, by following this Ekadasi, they were elevated quickly and they went to the abode of Vaikuntha. They went to the abode of Vaikuntha. O my child, Jaimini, therefore the lunar day of Ekadasi is the self-same form of the Supreme Lord Vishnu and the supersoul within the heart of the living entities. Sri Ekadasi is the utmost pious activity and is situated as the head among all the vows. Among all the vows. So you can see Sri Ekadasi is the head of all the vows. Ekadasi vow. If you can follow Ekadasi, it is so much more powerful. No, it is non-different. Ekadasi is non-different from the Lord. See, Ekadasi is the self-same form of the Supreme Lord Vishnu and the super soul within the heart of the living entities. Following the ascension of Sri Ekadasi, that personality who is the form of sinful activity gradually saw the influence that she, Ekadasi, had. Thus he approached Lord Vishnu with doubts in his heart and began offering many prayers, whereupon the Lord became very pleased and said, I have become very pleased by your nice offerings. What boon is it that you want? So now everybody is following Ekadasi and they are getting elevated um, to the spiritual world, to Vaikuntha. So now there are some doubts that Papa Purusha has. Now, Papa Purusha, the embodiment of all sinful activities. Now, he has approached the Lord and he has some doubts. So, let us see what are the doubts that he has. The Papa Purusha replied, I am your created progeny, and it is through me that you wanted distress given to the living entities who are very sinful. But now, by the influence of Sri Ekadasi, I have become all but destroyed. O Prabhu, after I die, all of your parts and parcels who have accepted material bodies will become liberated and return to the abode of Vaikuntha, the spiritual domain. So, after I die means what? After all sinful activities die. Once one ceases to commit any sinful activities, then one will return to the abode of Vaikuntha. No? So, he's saying, Papa Purusha is saying, sin personified is saying that after I die, so it means when people are not committing any more sinful activities, then they will become liberated and return to the abode of Vaikuntha, the spiritual domain. If this liberation of all living entities takes place, then who will carry on your activities? There will be no one to enact the pastimes in the earthly planetary systems. O Keshava, if you want these eternal pastimes to carry on, then you please save me from the fear of Ekadasi. No type of pious activity can bind me, but Ekadasi only, being your own manifested form, can impede me. So sinful life can be checked by following Ekadasi. Out of fear of Sri Ekadasi, I have fled and taken shelter of men, animals, insects, hills, trees, moving and non moving living entities, rivers, oceans, forests, heavenly, earthly, and hellish planetary systems, demigods, and the Gandharvas. I cannot find a place where I can be free from the fear of Sri Ekadasi. O my master, I am the product of your creation, and therefore very mercifully direct me to a place where I can reside fearlessly. Vyasadeva then said to Jaimini, after saying this, the embodiment of all sinful activities, Papa Purusha, fell down at the feet of the Supreme Lord Vishnu, who was the destroyer of all miseries, and began to cry. So, this personality, Papa Purusha, is requesting that please allow me to reside somewhere. After this, Lord Vishnu, observing the condition of the Papa Purusha with laughter, began to speak thus: O Papa Purusha, rise up. Don't lament any longer. Just listen, and I'll tell you where you can stay on the lunar day of Ekadasi. On the date of Sri Ekadasi, which is the benefactor of the three planetary systems, you can take shelter of foodstuffs in the form of grains. There is no reason to worry about this anymore because my form as Sri Ekadasi will no longer impede you. After giving direction to the Papa Purusha, the Supreme Lord Vishnu disappeared and the Papa Purusha returned to the performance of his own activities. So, what is it that Lord Vishnu has given this personality of sin, Papa Purusha, where he can reside? Where he is allowing him to reside?
In
In
the
the
grains,
In the grains. On which day?
day of the Ekadashi.
On the
Ekadashi.
day of Ekadasi. No.
Ekadashi.
So on usual other days when we eat grains, we are not eating sin. But on an Ekadasi, sin personified is residing in that grain. Sin personified is residing in that grain. So just by taking grain on Ekadasi, we are committing sins. We are committing sins just by eating the grain on Ekadasi. This is the reason why devotees do not eat grains on Ekadasi. That is why Ekadasi is a fasting day. Even if it is prasad, even if it is Krishna prasad, you receive it, you keep it with yourself, you honor that prasad the next day. Don't eat it on Ekadasi, even if it is grain prasad. Mhm. So when we eat grains on Ekadasi, we are only eating sin. We are only eating sin. Therefore, those persons who are serious about the ultimate benefit of the soul will never eat grains on Ekadasi. According to the instructions of Lord Vishnu, every grain of sinful activity that can be found in the material world takes its residence in this place of grains, food stuff. So, what kind of sin is there in the grain? All kinds of sin. See, every kind of sinful activity that can be found in the material world. So, even the grossest of the gross sinful activities, sinful reactions are there in that grain on an Ekadasi. Even the most grievous sins, all kinds. He says, or every kind of sinful activity that can be found in the material world takes its residence in this place of grain, foodstuff. Whoever follows Ekadasi is freed from all sins and never enters into the hellish regions. If one doesn't follow Ekadasi because of illusion, he is still considered the utmost sinner. So illusion means what? One is in ignorance, no? Because say ignorance is no excuse for one to be excused from the crime. If you break the red light while you're driving, and then you tell the police officer that I was not aware that I had to stop at the red light, is he going to let you go? No, because you are supposed to know the law. In the same way here, if one doesn't follow Ekadasi because of illusion, he is still considered the utmost sinner. For every mouthful of grain that is eaten by a resident of the earthly region on Ekadasi, one receives the effect of killing millions of Brahmanas. Just imagine what a serious crime. What a serious crime. On Ekadasi, do not eat grains. It is definitely necessary that one give up eating grains on Ekadasi. I very strongly say again and again, on Ekadasi, do not eat grains, do not eat grains, do not eat grains. Whether one be a Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, or of any family, he should follow the lunar day of Ekadasi. From this, the perfection of Varna and Ashrama will be attained. Especially since if one, even by trickery, follows Ekadasi, all his sins become destroyed and he very easily attains the supreme. So even supreme goal, the abode of Vaikuntha. So even if one follows Ekadasi by mistake, by chance, then also he will be benefited. So this is the Shastric reason why we should follow Ekadasi. Now, some non-devotees may not be convinced by what is written in the Shastra. So let us see this how Ekadasi benefits us from the scientific angle of vision. So there is a connection between Ekadasi Upavas and Nobel Prize. So let us see a video. It's a 9-minute video. Please pay close attention.
Hare Krishna. In the study of the DNA, everybody has heard of the DNA? The strands, DNA strands? Okay. In the study of the DNA, there's a concept called as junk DNA. Alright? In the DNA strand, which carries the information about our physical body, there's a piece, part of that DNA, which carries no information about our body, which is called as the junk DNA. In fact, for a long time, scientists used that principle to say that God doesn't exist. Because if you say God exists and He's the one who creates life, then everything has to be perfect. But this is a mistake. Look, there's a piece of the DNA and it carries no information. Why would your all-perfect God create something as a portion, part of your DNA strand, but carry no information? Therefore, they called it junk DNA. And in fact, many of these scientists call that as the mistake of God. For a long time, scientists felt that cells, when they split and they redouble and like they just duplicate themselves, they can go on and on and on and on like this. They can just duplicate themselves forever. But recently, scientists came up with a new study. They said it is not possible. That cannot go on forever. Because when cells duplicate, the DNA duplicates, and every time the DNA duplicates, a small piece of the junk DNA is lost. Are we all on the same page? There's a piece called as the junk DNA, and every time the cell duplicates, the DNA duplicates, a small piece of this junk DNA is lost. And every time it is lost, your life is reducing. The size of the junk DNA or the pieces of the junk DNA which are lost, they determine your duration of life. More the junk DNA and the less the pieces lost, the longer you live. Faster the pieces lost and bigger pieces lost, you're getting close to death. Make sense? So then they came to know, the scientists said, well, the cell cannot go on forever, but can just replicate and duplicate itself maybe 40 to 80 times. And at the end of 80 such duplications, the junk DNA is completely lost and it's gone forever. But what is the purpose of this junk DNA? Scientists, through their study, they found out it is like the casing at the end of our shoelace. It protects the information in the DNA from both sides. Look at Krishna's beautiful creation. He keeps your information in the middle and he protects from both sides with casings so that your information is intact. Now, if that portion of the junk DNA is getting lost, as soon as it is completely lost, you will find that there is fusion or unraveling of the characteristics and you're dead. Yes? So scientists perform many experiments to get to know how to increase our lifespan, which would happen in two considerations, in two conditions. Please, this is just the speed breaker, so to speak, in our class, because it's too scientific. And after that, it's just a smooth path. So to increase life, scientists wanted to do two things. One, reduce the rate of the cell splitting, so that the lesser it splits or duplicates, the lesser the DNA duplicates, the lesser or the less frequent would the pieces from the junk DNA be lost. Right? Second, even if that is frequent, the pieces lost from the junk DNA should be very small, so that just small pieces are lost and the person can live forever or for a long time. This junk DNA in the scientific terms is called as a telomere. All right, you can search on Google, you'll find all of this. In fact, on this discovery that I'm talking about, scientists were given the 2009 Nobel Prize for whatever we are speaking. So on the basis of their experiment, they wanted to know how we could reduce the rate of cell duplication and also reduce the size of the telomere lost.
What's the name?
Telomere. It's Telomere. Telomere. Through repeated experiments, they got to know that if you really want to succeed, then you have to reduce the calorie intake. It is directly connected to the calorie intake. More your calorie intake, more bigger chunk pieces of the telomere lost, or faster is the rate of the duplication, and lesser the calorie intake, less is the rate, and person lives longer. At the end of this experiment, two things came out. Very interesting. First, those who eat meat, those who drink, those who have frequent sex, those who are into drugs and intoxication, at the cell duplication level, for such people, the pieces of the telomere lost are big chunks, because of which they age faster and they get closer to death. And the scientists found out those who live a vegetarian life and a sattvic lifestyle in the mode of goodness, of course they didn't say in the mode of goodness, I'm paraphrasing, but this was the essence. Those who live in a very pure lifestyle, pure habits, vegetarian lifestyle, for them, the pieces of the telomere lost are very small, because of which they live longer, and they live healthier and look younger. So now they got a bench of different people to experiment on, and in the first experiment they had 14 students on whom they were experimenting. So what they did was they got down their calorie intake by 25%. And they continued this research for 15 days, one fortnight. At the end, they found out that the results were really nice. Very good results, as they expected. But one problem. The students started feeling very weak. Because of which, at the end of 15 days, they went back to their regular diet. So this was good, but not feasible. After regular and multiple experiments, they got to know that this same result can be obtained by fasting for 36 hours once in 2 weeks. They were given a Nobel Prize for this, and Krishna said that's Ekadasi. "36 hours of a fast." How is that 36 hours? sunset of Dashami to sunrise of Ekadashi is 12 hours. And then 24 hours of that day. And then you break your fast, 36 hours. So Ekadashi fast is not just spiritual, but even on the material plane, if you want to live longer, please fast. And they found for those who fast like this, 36 hours once in 2 weeks, the cell duplication rate is less, because of which the breaking of the telomere is very less, and smaller pieces are lost. And such people they look very effulgent, look younger, and live long without diseases. But this practice must be done. In fact, the scientists say this practice must be done for every individual between the age gap of 8 and 80. And I'll tell you the same sentence from the Padma Puran, where Ekadashi must be performed by everyone between 8 and 80 years old. Beyond 80 and before 8, you're excused.
So basically what he said was that this telomere is the end of a chromosome. No? So here you have, and this end of the chromosome is the telomere, which is what he was describing, that it breaks away every time the cell divides. No? So how often it breaks and how big is the chunk that breaks off is what determines our lifespan. The smaller the chunks and the slower the rate of it breaking will determine that we can live a longer and a healthier life. Longer and a healthier life. So see here, the cells are dividing, and here this telomere, which as Amarendra Prabhu explained, is something that is called as a junk DNA, because there is no DNA information here in this telomere. And for many years, the scientists thought that this is an unnecessary part of the body. But now they have discovered that this helps to protect the information, like the ending of a shoelace. No, you have the plastic. So this is what it does. It stores, it secures the information, the DNA information here. And as the cells divide over time, this telomere becomes short. You can see here, it shortens and shortens and shortens, and until there is no more telomere left. So now this is a dead cell. It's a dead cell, and over a period of time, the dead cells should be eliminated from the body. So there is this Nobel Prize that was given in physiology in 2016 for this concept called autophagy to a Japanese scientist. And he explained how in the body, when one fasts for 36 hours every 15 days. No? So his research said fasting for 36 hours every 15 days will help that the bad cells in the body are eaten up by the good cells. So like this, the bad cells are eliminated from the body when we fast. If we never fast and we are always eating 365 days a year, then the body does not have the time to repair itself. No, so that reparation, this autophagy, happens when one fasts for a 36-hour period every 15 days. So this is what the world of science has recommended. But here, the Vaishnavas, we fast on the 11th day only. No, the scientists just said 15 days, twice a month. But we fast only on the 11th day. So why only 11th day? Why only the 11th day? Why not on some other day? That also, there is a reason. Now let us try to understand. See, as we discussed, there are two phases, no? The phase of the waxing moon and the phase of the waning moon. Now, the new moon is when the sun and the moon are aligned, with the sun and the earth on opposite sides of the moon. So here, this is a new moon. So on the opposite sides of the moon, you have the earth and you have the sun. So therefore, this moon here is new moon, which means it is the night of Amavasya. It is a night of Amavasya. You can see that from the earth, we cannot see the sun's rays falling there because it is right in the middle. Then the full moon is when the sun and the moon are aligned with the sun and the moon on the opposite sides of the earth. So here the earth is coming between the sun and the moon. And here is what we see, a full moon, no, the full moon, or what we call as Purnima, Now what happens is, on these 2 days, the days of the full moon and the days of the new moon, the day of Purnima and the day of Amavasya, the gravitational pull is maximum on these 2 days. This is why previously the elders will tell you, if it's an Amavasya, if it is a Purnima, they will say you don't go to the beach. You don't go to the beach. The elders will advise like that. Why? Because that it is on that night that the gravitational pull is the maximum, and it creates havoc on all water bodies, And in the ocean, there is so much water. The ocean is very, very turbulent on the night of an Amavasya or on the night of a Purnima. The ocean water is very, very turbulent that night. It's very, very turbulent. So that's why it's because of the gravitational pull is maximum. Now, according to scientific research, it is known that the air pressure on the earth varies to extreme limits on both the new moon, Amavasya, and the full moon, Purnima. This is because of the orbital path combination of the sun, moon, and earth. This can be observed by the change in the nature of the tidal waves on the new moon and full moon days. The waves are very high and rough, but from the next day onwards, the waves become calm, an indication that the pressure has also receded. Now, based on this fact, the significance of Ekadasi fasting can be explained in 2 ways. Let's see. First of all, it takes about 3 to 4 days for the food that we eat today to reach our brain, for the brain to understand the food intake. Now, if we eat light or we fast on Ekadasi days, that intake will reach the brain correspondingly on the full moon or new moon day. On both of these days, the earth pressure is at its maximum, thus leading to imbalance in everything, including one's thought process. So, if the input to the brain is at the minimum, the chances of the brain indulging in any wayward activity due to the high pressure imbalance also becomes minimum. People in asylums behave weirdly during full moon and new moon due to the same lunar activity. So if you see people who are in asylums, those who are mentally unstable, they have observed that how on an Amavasya or on a Purnima, they are more violent, they are more active during these 2 days, is because of this very same reason, because of the gravitational activity. See, our body is mostly composed of water, no, is mostly composed of water. So if that gravitational pull can create havoc in the oceans, how much more havoc it will create on our bodies. So yeah, so when we fast on the 11th day, by the time that food reaches our brain, or rather the brain processes the kind of food that we have eaten, it is Amavasya and Purnima. So it will have that much less damage on our brains, on our mental activities, no, on our mental state of mind. So this is the reason why Shastra recommends that we fast on the 11th day of the waxing moon and on the 11th day of the waning moon. So the scientists just said 15 days, once every 15 days, 36 hours. But further scientific research, you can put 2 and 2 together and see why is it that our Shastra recommends that we fast on Ekadasi. Another explanation for Ekadasi fasting is that compared to any other day of the moon cycle, atmospheric pressure is lowest on Ekadasi days. Thus, this is the best time to fast and cleanse the bowel system. If we fast on any other day, the high pressure strain may damage our system. Thus, it is advisable that after fasting on Ekadasi, on the immediate next day, Dwadasi, we should break the fast on time. So, yes, we have to fast on Ekadasi and we should break our fast on Dwadasi. We should not fast on a Dwadasi. We should not fast on a Dwadasi. So, what is the purpose of fasting? First of all, let us see the Shastric reasons. See, Hari Bhakti Vilasa mentions 4 reasons for the observance of Ekadasi Vrata. So, what are the 4 reasons according to Hari Bhakti Vilasa? It should be followed because it pleases Krishna. So, number 1 reason it pleases Krishna. So a devotee only does what Krishna likes. So simple reason is we fast on Ekadasi because it is pleasing to Lord Shri Krishna. It is Madhava Tithi. No, it is his day. Second reason, because doing it is observing the rules. So when we do this, then we are following the rules and regulations of the Shastra. Why? And then why do we follow? Because eating is forbidden at that time. So we should not eat because it is forbidden at that time. And because its neglect would be a cause of sin. So these are the four reasons the Hari Bhakti Vilasa gives as to why we should follow Ekadasi. See from the Padma Purana, when Ekadasi arrives at that time, all of the sins from the three worlds reside in the grains in the form of Papa Purusha. We saw the story also, as narrated by Vyasadeva to Jaimini Rishi, his disciple. So when Ekadasi arrives at that time, all the sins from the three worlds reside in the grains in the form of Papa Purusha. Whatever sins are available in the world, they all together reside in grains on Ekadasi day by the order of Lord Sri Narayana. By eating on Ekadasi, one eats sin alone, and verily he eats the flesh of a cow. So next time, when we see grains on Ekadasi, we should remember that in that grain, sin, Papa Purusha is residing. And by eating that grain on Ekadasi, we are only intaking more and more sin. This is Sastric. In the Brahma Vaivarta Purana, it is said that one who observes fasting on Ekadasi day is freed from all kinds of reactions to sinful activities and advances in pious life. The basic principle is not just to fast, but to increase one's faith and love for Govinda or Krishna. The real reason for observing fasting on Ekadasi is to minimize the demands of the body and to engage our time in the service of the Lord by chanting or performing similar service. The best thing to do on fasting day is to remember the pastimes of Govinda and to hear his holy name constantly. So yes, on an Ekadasi, other than fasting, we should maximize all our other spiritual activities. No, we can chant more rounds, we can listen more Krishna Katha, we can read the holy scriptures, and we should maximize all our spiritual activities on the Ekadasi day other than fasting. See, some more Shastric quotes are there. By indulging the tongue, a terrible result is obtained. He is a killer of his mother and father, and indeed he is a killer of his brother and his guru. He who eats on Ekadasi is barred from the abode of Vishnu. Gautamiya Tantras cited in Bhakti Sandarbha, Raga, Vartama Chandrika, and Hari Bhakti Vilas. Then we have, if a Vaishnava becomes so insane as to eat on Ekadasi, his worship of Vishnu becomes worthless and he attains a terrible hell. The ninth anga of sadhana is Hari Vasara Sammana, respecting the day of Hari. So Samman, we have to respect Hari Vasara, the day where Lord Hari is residing. So this is the ninth anga of sadhana bhakti, to respect the days of Hari. So this is a part of sadhana of a Vaishnava. Sri Rupa Goswami quotes in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, respecting the holy days of Hari from Brahma Vaivarta Purana, Ekadasi destroys all a person's sin, bestows limitless piety, and causes them to remember Govinda. In the three worlds, there is no kind of fasting which is even comparable to the Ekadasi fast. Even if one performs this fast without a proper attitude, he achieves the supreme abode. Anyone who fasts on Ekadasi day with full devotion, what happens to him by the mercy of the Supreme Lord, I cannot say. How much merit gets, he cannot be described. So we cannot even imagine how much merit, how much benefit we get by following the Ekadasi fast. Now, who should follow Ekadasi? Does anybody remember from what Amarendra Prabhu said in that video?
8 to 80 between.
Yes, anybody who's between the age of 8 to 80 years should follow the fast. So see, this is the quote. From the age of 8 to age of 80, a person should fast on all of the Ekadasis on both the light and the dark parts of the moon. So you have to fast on all of the Ekadasis. Not that this Ekadasi is more important, some other Ekadasi is not so important, so I'll fast on this Ekadasi, I'll not. No, you have to fast on all the Ekadasis if you are above 8 and below 80. How many Ekadasis in a year?
24.
24. Except
In the
Uh,
extra month, 26.
in the extra month, right? Which is the extra month that comes once in 3 years?
Purushottam month.
The month of Purushottam. So when there is month of Purushottam, there are how many Ekadasis?
26.
26.
26.
So how many Ekadasis we should follow?
26.
All, yes, all. There is no exception. There is no exception. Now, how to follow the Ekadasi fast? So there are 5 levels of fasting. 5 levels of fasting. You can choose a level according to what suits your health and your conditions. Okay. So the highest level is completely abstain from eating and drinking anything, even water. So complete nirjala fast. This is the highest level. If you can't do that, then follow the next level, which is, so in this nirjala fast, achamana water and charanamrita are allowed. So if you are in a temple and they give you charanamrita, you can have that. That doesn't break the Ekadasi fast. And achamana water is which if you're a pujari and you're doing service, deity service, then we have to recite some mantras and drink that water. It's called achamana water. No, so that drinking that achamana water and drinking charanamrita does not break the Ekadasi fast. But that doesn't mean you have 1 liter of achamana water and 1 liter of charnamrita. No, just that little drop that you can put in the hand, that only you can have and it will not break your fast. So, but if you cannot follow complete nirjala, then what you can do, you abstain from eating, but you can drink water. You can drink water. If you cannot follow that, then you follow the next level, which is you can take a little fruit and water. Fruit and water. If you cannot follow that, then you follow the next level. You take water and 1 meal in the afternoon. You eat only once in the afternoon, but that prasad should be completely non-grain. No grains, no beans, no pulses. Okay, so this is the basic standard. What you should not eat: no grains, no beans, and no pulses. You can eat 1 meal in the afternoon and you can take water. If you cannot follow that also, then the 5th level is eat and drink as usual, but without any grains, beans, or pulses. So not necessarily that you have to eat only once. You can have your breakfast, lunch, dinner, but no grains, no beans, and no pulses. This is the last level. And most devotees follow the last level. Most devotees follow the last level. But you can follow any one of these 5 according to what your health permits and according to what your situation is. See, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is none other than Krishna himself. He is Krishna himself. So Lord Chaitanya, this is a quote from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Lord Chaitanya strongly upheld the importance of Ekadasi for others, and in general, he strictly observed it himself. During his entire manifest pastimes, he only asked his mother to do one thing. So during all of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes when he was on this planet, the only thing that he requested his mother to do was what? Let's see. One day Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fell down at the feet of his mother and requested her to give him one thing in charity. His mother replied, "My dear son, I will give you whatever you ask." Then the Lord said, "My dear mother, please do not eat grains on the Ekadasi day." Mother Sachi said, "You have spoken very nicely. I shall not eat grains on Ekadasi." From that day, she began to observe fasting on Ekadasi. So see, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is none other than Krishna himself, the only thing he requested his mother to follow, he said, "I ask you, please do not eat grains on Ekadasi." So do not confuse fasting with starving. See, fasting is something that is shastric. Starving is not shastric at all. So fasting is something that is willingly done. Starving is unwillingly done. Fasting, one may continue to eat or drink, but under discipline. So here, when we do Ekadasi fasting, we continue to eat or drink, but we are doing it under discipline. No, we don't eat grains, beans, and pulses. We eat only Krishna Prasad. Starving, no eating or drinking all together. Sometimes, if one is living in poverty, then one may be starving, or one may go on a crash diet and he may choose to starve in order to lose some weight. But one must not starve. One must use one's intelligence. No, one must fast, not starve. Fasting makes you feel great. It actually makes you feel energetic. But starving will make you feel miserable. Fasting is done to transcend the body. Starving is done to torment the body. Fasting improves health, it improves immunity, it improves the mental health, it detoxifies your system, and it increases the lifespan. But starving is dangerous to health, it weakens your immunity, it weakens mental health, it increases toxicity, and it is a life threatening condition. Fasting focuses on feasting on Krishna by immersing our consciousness on Krishna. So when we fast, we should be focusing on feasting on Krishna, which means we maximize our spiritual practices and we completely absorb our consciousness in Krishna. But focus, when we are starving, the focus is on feasting on food. Person who's starving is always thinking, oh, when will I be able to eat food? Every fast in Sanatan Dharma has a scientific basis and rituals are added so that the common man can follow. So no fast in Sanatan Dharma that is something that is there just for the sake of keeping it. No, there is a science behind it. Now, just as how this Japanese scientist got this Nobel Prize for his research on autophagy. But Krishna said that that's Ekadasi millions of years ago, millions of years ago. But the world of science, they want to spend millions of dollars and then they want to come to the conclusion that Krishna has already established as a fact millions of years ago. That is the glory of our Sanatan Dharma. Starving, there is no scientific basis or nor any ritual attached to starving. Now, why does one have to break Ekadasi at a specific time? It's very, very important that one breaks the Ekadasi fast on time to get the full benefit of that fast. We have the story of Ambarish Maharaj. Ambarish Maharaj, if you may recall, he had invited Durvasa Muni. It was an Ekadasi, and Durvasa Muni said that I will go have a bath and come back. So, see, if you are inviting a guest to your home, then you do not eat before the guest. That is etiquette. No. And that day, he was fasting, but then the time, I'm sorry, it was not Ekadasi, it was Dwadasi. And the time to break the fast had come. And still, Durvasa Muni had not yet returned. So now, what does Ambarish Maharaj do? Because if he does not eat or drink anything, then he is not going to break his Ekadasi fast on time. But if he drinks or eats, then he is eating or drinking before the guest can arrive, which is against the etiquette for guests, which we have to follow. So then his ministers and the brahmanas, they advised him that, okay, you take some water, and by drinking the water, you are not breaking your fast. At the same time, you are breaking your fast. So just when he was about to take that water, Durvasa Muni arrives on the scene and he is very angry on Ambarish Maharaj. So anyway, the point we are making here is how it was important for Ambarish Maharaj at that time to break the fast on time. So it is very, very important that we break the Ekadasi fast on time. So we have here an explanation by Bhaktarupa Prabhu. The basic rule is that one should wait until after sunrise to break the fast. Sunrise times change from day to day. Thus, the beginning of the Parana time varies. But one should not wait forever on the next day to break. The tradition is that under normal circumstances, one should break Ekadasi during the first 1/3 of the daylight hours on that day. So during the first 1/3 of the daylight hours, not evening time, daylight hours. So during the first 1/3, we have to break the fast. Thus, the ending of the Parana time varies. Then there are sometimes exceptions. The Ekadasi Tithi plus 25% of the Dwadasi Tithi is called Harivasara. One should not fast until after that period is over, but before the end of the Dwadasi Tithi. Thus, sometimes one has to wait until some time after sunrise to break, and sometimes one has to break quickly after sunrise. So this is the calculation, and this is the reason why there are every Ekadasi has different timings to break the fast. But let's not get confused by all this. If you go to your Vaishnava calendar in your location will tell you when exactly. It'll give you a window. No, you break your fast between this time and between this time. So during that time, you should break your fast so that you can get the full benefit of fasting on Ekadasi. So with this, by the mercy of Sri Guru and Sri Krishna, we come to the end of our presentation on Ekadasi. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
So, Mataji, people usually say that eating rice on Ekadashi is a sin. But in Jagannath Puri temple, they offer rice 365 days to Lord as prasad. Do you have any idea on this as to why they do that?
Yeah, see, Jagannath, you can offer grains to the Lord. Jagannath, Krishna, Vishnu Tattva, they don't have to fast on Ekadasi. We have to fast on Ekadasi, not them. So we
Okay,
can
okay.
offer it to the Lord. Even in your home, you can offer Ekadasi, you can offer grains if you have deities of Sri Radha Krishna or Jagannath or any Vishnu Tattva, you can offer grains to them. We don't offer grains to Sri Gauranitai because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda, they are Krishna and Balaram, but they are in the form of devotees. No, they come as devotees. So if you have deities
Yes.
of Gauranitai, we don't offer grains on Ekadasi. But Vishnu Tattva, yes, you can offer, no problem. But we don't eat. We eat the prasad the next day.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
You're welcome. Anything else we need to discuss?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
But grains on the same day, anyhow, Papurusha will enter into that grains. But next day eating,
Next day he is not
he will.
residing now. He is residing only on Ekadasi. He is
Okay.
residing only on Ekadasi.
Okay. My next question is regarding that Mataji, Amrish Maharaj and Yamaraj. You told Yamaraj is actually a devotee won't see Yamaraj if they wear Kandimala and all. But Yamaraj is actually he's a devotee, na? We can see him. Even Pandavas saw Yamaraj.
No. We are talking about general living entities. See,
Yamadutas.
Pandavas and all, they are pure devotees. See, when it comes to pure devotees, when it comes to personal assistance of the Lord, they are an exception to the rule. They are an exception to the rule. There, Krishna will sanction. But people who are not surrendered to Krishna, those who are only under the modes of material nature, they have to follow, they are under the influence of the modes of material nature. But when one surrenders to Krishna, then one is not acting under the modes of material nature. One is beyond the modes. Now, whatever is coming to that devotee is because of Krishna's mercy. Okay, so Ambarish Maharaj and the Pandavas, they are an exception to the rule. They are an exception to the rule because they are surrendered to Krishna. See, when we don't surrender to Krishna, we are under the influence of the modes of material nature. Now, whatever suffering is coming or whatever happiness is coming is because of our own past karmic reactions. But when one surrenders to Krishna, now whatever suffering or joy is coming directly from Krishna. That's why we say, no, if you surrender to Krishna and it's in your karma to live a life of poverty, but your desire is, I want to have a big house so that I can use that house to have Krishna conscious programs. Krishna will give it to you even though it is not in your karma because you have surrendered to Krishna. So he can override the rules of the game. So you cannot compare
Okay, but anyhow,
Pandavas and Ambarish Maharaj to the other common living entities.
yeah, but still he is a 12 Mahajana. Na? When we get association of him, we will be delivered. Na?
Yeah, but what is his service? His service is not to deliver you. His service is to punish the sinful personalities. That is his service. And he does his service. His
Yeah,
service is not
but
to
when we,
preach. Narada Muni, for example, Narada Muni's service is to preach. So Krishna has allotted different services to different servants, to different
yeah,
Mahajans, to different. So they do their service.
But however, when we get pure devotee association, we'll be benefited, na? So whoever will see him, they will be benefited. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, but he doesn't make himself visible. He doesn't make himself visible because that is not his service to the pure devotees. That's not his service. That's not what he does. That's not what he's instructed to do. We will get benefited, but he doesn't make himself visible.
To anyone in the heaven, I mean, hell also I'm asking. When they go, people will go, when they see him, they will get indirectly association, na? Great devotee association. Because
How
he's a
will they
great
see
devotee.
Yamaraj in heaven? Yamaraj is in the hellish planets, right? He's
Not heaven,
residing.
not heaven. Hell, I'm asking. Hell, I mean to say.
So who goes to hell? The sinful souls, is it not?
Yes, yes. They will get some benefit, I'm asking. That's what my question. He is also like devotee, na?
Whether they get benefit, but Yamaraj is not preaching to them. Yamaraj is there, like what does a judge do? A judge is in the court of law and he's neutral. He just passes the judgment. So Yamaraj's service is to pass the judgment.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That Amrish Maharaj example, if Dwadashi, if you won't fast, break the fast, we have to be the next day, we have to fast till next day. That is there, na? But suppose Ekadasi, next day Dwadasi, if you could not able to fast, then
Okay,
the same
so
day we can again do fasting. And the next coming day we can
no,
break the
see, there
fast.
is
Like that I have.
okay, wait. There is a quote by my Guru Maharaj, and my Guru Maharaj
Mhm.
says that he has heard from Srila Prabhupada saying that if by mistake you happen to break Ekadasi fast, not that you are knowingly eating grains on Ekadasi, no. If by mistake you happen to break the Ekadasi fast, then you fast on Trayodashi. Dwadasi, you don't fast, you have to fast on Trayodashi. That is the 13th day. But Dwadasi, we don't fast. There is a quote by my Guru Maharaj. I have actually shared it before also in the group.
Mm-hmm.
So,
No. My question is like Dwadasi, if they could not able to break on time.
oh, you're saying why Ambarish
Break
Maharaj
on
didn't
time.
choose to eat on Trayodashi like that?
Yeah, that is one question. But if you won't break on that same time, because we have 1 hour or 1.5 hour time now, if you could not able to break within that time, I heard we have to fast the same Dwadasi also.
No. My Guru Maharaj says that if you cannot break on, if you don't break on time, that you have to
Break
fast on
on
Dwadasi
time.
also. Oh, that I don't
Yeah.
know. That I don't know. That I don't know.
Then Amrish Maharaj could have done instead of
No, but you
offending him,
cannot
something like
purposely
that.
commit a mistake, no. If you these things are there if you do it by mistake, but not that you're purposely doing it. If Ambarish Maharaj, he knew very well the time is ticking away, so he's purposely not breaking his fast. So that is not sanctioned in the Shastra. If you do it by mistake, by chance, if you happen to do it unknowingly, then only these other provisions are there. But you cannot knowingly he will not break his fast on time. Breaking the fast on time is as important as keeping the Ekadasi fast itself. It's that how important it is to break the fast on time. It's as
Yeah.
important as keeping the fast.
Okay. And the next question is like about Pandavanajal Ekadasi. If you once Pandavanajal Ekadasi, if you do, all the benefits of other Ekadasis we will get.
Yes.
That I heard in the scriptures. So
Yes.
no need to do other Ekadasis.
No, that is if you happen to break the fast by mistake, then if you do Pandava Nirjala Ekadasi, you will get the benefit of keeping all 24 Ekadasis. It is not that you purposely eat grain throughout the year on Ekadasi and then you do Pandava Nirjala Ekadasi. No, that's not how it works. That was only for Bhim. That was only for Bhim.
Yes.
So Bhim had inquired from Krishna. Bhim said that I have this, huge body and I like to eat and I need food. So I cannot fast every 15 days. So then Krishna told Bhim, okay, you don't fast every
Yeah.
15 days. You keep only that one Nirjala Ekadasi in the year. And if you keep that one Nirjala Ekadasi in the year, you get the benefit of fasting on all the 24 Ekadasis. So that was only for Bhim. Now we are not Bhim. So for us, if we happen to break by mistake, unknowingly, then you follow one Nirjala Ekadasi in the year and you get the benefit of all 24 Ekadasis. Okay, but not that knowingly you're eating grains on Ekadasi, no. And who knows, maybe this year we are keeping, and by the time Pandava Nirjala Ekadasi appears, then we are not alive also to keep that fast. Then what will do?
Yeah. Okay. Thank
So
you.
purposely, we should not commit mistakes.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
And what is that Ekadasi specifically in the day Vishnu is there in the particular day? What is that? Every day Krishna is there, that only
Yeah, but
particular
that day
day?
is specifically dear to Lord Krishna. That day is most dear to Lord Krishna. All the days are dear, but that day is more dear. Just like every day you love your wife, but on your anniversary you shower even more affection on your wife, is it not? So that day specifically is more dear to Lord Krishna.
Okay. Why there is any specific reason?
Because he created that personality Ekadasi for the sake of helping these souls who are suffering the hellish planets. In the story that we read, no, he himself has created Ekadasi personality to help. So that's why.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for wonderful class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for hearing. Anything else we need to discuss?
Mataji, why they specify a few Ekadashis as Nirjala and not all Ekadashis as Nirjala?
Because Nirjala Ekadasi is that Ekadasi that was recommended by Krishna to Bhim, and by following that
Okay.
Nirjala Ekadasi, you get the benefit of all 24 Ekadasis. But all the Ekadasis are not like that. If you have other Ekadasi, which is not that particular Pandava Nirjala Ekadasi, it's not that by keeping Nirjala on that Ekadasi, you get the benefit of all 24 Ekadasis. It's not like that. You can follow all 24 as Nirjalas, but that particular Pandava Nirjala Ekadasi will give you the benefit of all Ekadasis of the year. That's why.
It's specified Nirjala Upavas.
Yes,
They
yes,
mention.
yes, it is specified.
So,
Yes, that
but in
Ekadasi is
all,
called
it's not
Pandava
mentioned.
Nirjala Ekadasi.
But
Okay.
Mataji, I think you mentioned that this Nirjala Ekadasi was only for Bhishma, not for Bhima, not for everybody, right?
For Bhim. Yeah, it was for Bhim so that he can purposely eat grains on all the Ekadasis, and then he follows one and he gets the benefit. But even we, if we happen to break by mistake, then we have to do that Nirjala. And even if we are following all the Ekadasis and we do Nirjala also, there is there is nothing that we are going to lose. It is good for our own purification. It is good for our own purification. It's not going to have an opposite effect. No, if you still do, then we will get benefited only. No, we only stand to benefit. But of course, you have to see your health, your situation, your circumstances. For example, I cannot do Nirjala Ekadasi. I can never do that. I was not raised on fasting. Okay, before I came to Krishna consciousness, I didn't even know what it is to be hungry because I never fasted. So if you're not used to it, your body is not used to it, then you may not be able to do it health wise. So you have to see your situation, your health, and use your intelligence. You should not starve, you have to fast. So use your intelligence and choose a level that you can comfortably do without affecting your health. At the same time, we also should try and advance in our spiritual life. No? So that's why Krishna has given different levels. You can't do this. If you can't do the best, you do the next best. If you can't do the next best, do the next best. So like that, he has given us options. So you choose the level which is comfortable for you using your intelligence. We should not become fanatics either. Okay.
Thank you, Mataji.
You're welcome. Anything else we need to discuss? Okay, then it appears there are no more questions or comments. So we'll end our class here. See you all next week if Krishna so sanctions. Till then, have a nice week in Krishna consciousness. Vancha kalpataro vyascha kripa sindhu vyayevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Radha Krishna ki jai. Hare Krishna.